So thank you all for coming. This event really is the highlight of my year, coming here to talk about this tiny little open source project that I've been working on for so long. So it really is exciting for me that so many of you come, that I get to come. It's great to see everybody here. Yeah, so let's start off about the DITA-Open Toolkit, since technically that's what I'm supposed to talk about here. To the surprise of nobody, we do have a new release prepared. I'm going to talk a little bit about that now, I guess. The release is officially 3.0. Ooh, big, scary, major release, right? Right? Everybody scared? A few people are pretending to be scared, thank you. Yeah, it's not actually that scary. The number has changed from 2.x to 3.0 because of some big changes under the covers, but back when we jumped to 2.0, a lot of people took a long time to move up because there were a lot of changes. This time, you don't really have to worry about that. The processing model has changed under the covers some, but it's not something that you need to worry about. Like, we haven't made big changes to PDF2, so your customizations are still going to work. There are just a lot of new kind of core features that some of you may not ever even see. I'm going to talk about them anyway, so you have to listen, because there's no alternate session right now. The biggest one, Jarno's going to have a whole session about, so I won't give too many details. That's preprocess 2. That's the change from the original toolkit model that was sort of cobbled together over time, figuring out how to run things, moving to one that's actually well designed. He's going to give a lot of details about that coming up. Some of the other big changes that we'll talk more about later, there's new ability to process Markdown. That's been a plugin of Jarno's for a while, but now with lightweight DITA coming around, it's actually bundled with the toolkit. It's there natively, as well as a normalized DITA output. HTML5 is part of that as well, the lightweight DITA version. I've got some fixes in there, fixes and features for localization, for accessibility, lots of little handy things. So it's not a huge release, but it does have some really nice stuff. I hope that y'all check it out. And again, it's not as scary as the move to 2.x. So yeah. With that out of the way, let's see, how far ahead of the schedule are we now? So again, I will just ramble some more. So there may be some inappropriate joking for me throughout the day. I should just warn you, some of you who are friends on Facebook or follow me on Twitter are already aware of my journey to get here. Did anybody here hear about that plane that had the engine go out over the Atlantic? A few? Yeah, emergency landing in Canada. Yeah, I was on that plane. I spent 9 hours in Goose Bay, Newfoundland, sitting on a plane waiting for a new plane to come get me after the engine exploded on the original one. So that was pretty exciting, but I still made it here. I think that is a sign of dedication, yes? Yeah. It is also a sign that they don't let you off the plane to go get a rental car to drive home from Newfoundland. No, instead they give you an escort with a gun to move to the new plane. They didn't want to deal with any illegal immigration in Canada, so yeah. So it's been kind of a wild trip to get here. It took me a long time to get here. That's also the reason that I haven't slept much for the past several days, after spending overnight on a plane and then overnight in Amsterdam, with a couple of hours sleep before I had to get on the next plane. So I might say things today that don't make sense. Feel free to ask for clarifications. If I'm not able to clarify, Jarno might be able to help, Roger might be able to help. Any one of you else in the audience may be able to help. Because I'm a little bit sleep deprived, but I also have a lot of caffeine, so that's gonna cut, that's gonna make up for it, right? So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because a lot of people in the audience are aware of that, and there will probably be comments that relate to crazy plane travels. Particularly given that in the past we've associated DITA-Open Toolkit with jetpacks, and now jet engines seems related, but I'm not sure I want to associate it after seeing how unreliable jet engines can be. So anyway, yes, Elliot.
It's probably worth pointing out that aircraft manuals are by and large written in S1000.
Yes. Thank you. Young pointed out on Twitter that perhaps this was an effort by someone in that community to prevent me from getting here. I like to think no one in either community would ever rise to that level, but I don't know many of them, so yeah. Yeah, any comments, questions about the upcoming release? Anybody want to ask anything? Anybody want to ask anything about the plane travel? Because I know that some people are wondering. No? Okay, well then I will just go ahead and say yes, it is very scary when you see your engine explode, but I have a new faith in the reliability of both jet airline pilots and jet airlines to actually make it down. So yeah, I think we're still well ahead of schedule. Sorry for that, George. Yes?
Based on your comment about S1000D,
Yeah.
the space we are in as well. Space is probably a very important word. Hands up all those who are also involved in S1000D.
Anybody else here also involved in S1000D?
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, that was the question. Is anybody else here also involved in S1000D? The answer appears to be
Everybody laughed.
Yeah.
Must be, in fact, there is nobody. Okay.
yeah.
Elliot, do you have that space?
No.
How do you know that?
Well, I worked with aircraft manuals 20 years ago, before S1000.
Okay.
Everyone that is involved with it in this room won't admit it publicly.
Yeah.
We do some S1000.
Oh, so we have some over there. Yeah.
One person.
Yeah, we've had some discussions. I, at this point, don't remember who I was talking to, but some discussions about the specifications that go into jet engines and how you have to have that point of failure that includes the caveats that, if this thing fails, it has to be both a catastrophic failure where everything blows up, and also none of those parts moving at 1,000 miles an hour fly into the cabin next to you, and also the fire puts itself out really quickly, and also, all these things. And I like to think we're introducing that level of reliability into the toolkit. We're not. We're not. I like to think we are. I like to pretend we are. I wish we were, but no, we're not. But I also know that toolkit failures are unlikely to ever reach that level of catastrophe, so we have that going for us. Yeah, any other comments, questions? Anybody wondering why you're here? Yes?
Well, having made a disparaging remark about S1000D,
Yes.
I will say that during my time working on aircraft manuals, one of the things that impressed me was the degree of care and the seriousness with which the writers took their job.
Yeah.
That, everybody was aware every moment that a mistake in the manual could cause a plane to go down.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think not all of the things we document have quite that potential for catastrophe, but yeah, I think a lot of the people in this room probably do take that level of care, so that's nice that we're able to help enable that.
Well, okay.
Yes.
So at some risk.
At some risk, yes.
I've often observed a certain hubris in the DITA community.
Mhm.
DITA is better than other markup languages, other approaches, other methodologies, including things like S1000D. But when you pull the room and ask who has worked with this thing that we claim we're doing better, nobody has direct experience in this. So just sort of a caution that when we're at conferences saying, why isn't everything in DITA, or we're on Twitter saying, why shouldn't, or why isn't all markup DITA, maybe consider that people do use other approaches and methodologies effectively and get work done.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
business goals, et cetera.
Yeah, DITA is a way to do things, and I do think that this is a somewhat self-selecting audience. You're not going to get a lot of people that are, I do everything in S1000D, but I'm going to go to this conference that's about the DITA Open Toolkit. A very technical aspect of one standard I'm not using. That we're not going to draw that crowd. But yeah, I don't make claims that everything should be in DITA. I don't think I've ever made that claim because I know that there are some things that shouldn't be. I've tried to put things in DITA that somebody said, let's get this into DITA, and it's like, in the end, it doesn't work. No, there are other ways to do things. Yeah.
Just trying to fill some space.
Oh, thank you. Anybody else want to have some really awkward questions that are hard for me to address? Alan's good at those.
What costume are you wearing on Halloween?
What costume am I wearing on Halloween? I don't know. I am hopping on a plane early tomorrow morning. I was hoping to have some time to see Berlin because it was really exciting to have this conference here. I've never been to Berlin, and then I had a delay that kept me home for several days longer than I wanted for a funeral. That was great fun. It's been a fun week. Then I was going to have a couple days in Berlin, and then, of course, I spent those in Canada and Amsterdam. But that means that I ended up with 48 hours here, of which a full day is this, and then I'm flying out early tomorrow so that I can make it to Halloween. I don't know. I've got my Star Wars costume on now. I doubt that's going to work for the kids. But no, I don't know.
Can you go on record by saying that that is also dedication?
The dedication to...
Coming here for such a short time and being home for Halloween for your kids.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes?
What are your kids being for Halloween?
My kids. The younger one, I believe, is going to be a skeleton with a pumpkin suit over it. So a skelepumpkin. And the older one, I thought was going to be a princess, but yesterday I saw a picture of her wearing a unicorn head. So we'll see. She also wanted to be a butterfly, so it will probably be a combination of all three. Anybody else have a good costume idea? I assume that everybody staying for DITA Europe will be wearing their costumes on Wednesday or Tuesday. Ugh, I don't know my days anymore. You're wearing costumes to run?
Of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I'll have to trust that since I won't be here to see it. I'm just going to believe it. Okay. Are we ready to move on, I think? Okay. Sorry, I'm assuming I didn't fill all the time. At this point, hours and minutes don't mean a lot to me, so I don't know what time it is.